focused with your hearts open wide to hear from our next speaker. She qualified for 10 top sales director trips, including 7 of the prestige trips. She was in the top 10 of her seminar 7 times, led her unit to the $1 Million Circle of Excellence 6 times, her highest in the $1,150,000 circle, and she's been a top 10 sales director nationwide 3 times. She's been runner-up to the Queen of Unit Sales for her seminar 3 times. Debuting as a national sales director at the Diamond Go Give area in 2000, her highest monthly check so far is over $53,000. And she's a Mary Kay multi-millionaire with over $7 million in commissions. She's achieved Diamond Circle status 14 times, her highest in the $250,000 category. She's been a member of the exclusive Inner Circle twice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome National Sales Director Linda Toupin!
To put a show on for us. They worked both in registration and in all the AV, but I want to honor our staff over here and thank them. Would you please give a huge appreciation, a Kentuckiana appreciation, to Mike, Leah, Sarah, Hillary, and Corey. Each of you, and just thank you so much. You know, the heart of Mary Kay doesn't just lie and rest with us. It lies inside that building in Dallas, Texas, with amazing men and women like this. So, thank you. You know, we've had some amazing ice stories. I mean, Kim Walker, powerhouse, even though you did change foundation colors a few minutes ago. What an honor to be here with you and your son yesterday and to meet him. Leah Loughlin, did she rock your world yesterday? Julia Burnett brought it home to us this morning. Julia, incredible. And to our top 3, Kim Messmer. Oh my gosh, Kim, we are so ready for you to become a National Sales Director. We need you as a National Sales Director. April. Where is April? Wow. Wow. 10 years almost to the day. You just set afire the dreams of so many young women in this room. 10 years from today, they'll be speaking from this stage. Wow. And Stacy, it's your time. It's your time. And you have set the bar so high. I cannot wait. And be sure and invite me to your national debut. Before I start out my speech, please don't start the timer yet. There's some very special people that are here today. Thousands that got locked out because obviously many people did not make it registration on this event. But I would love for my entire area to stand. The Toupin National Area of Directors and Consultants, I'd like for you to honor them who are here. We have moved into the top 3 position in the Ruby. That has been my dream since debuting as a National Sales Director. And then I would like to honor my personal unit who are here today. You know, when you debut as a National Sales Director, they no longer rank your unit. And I know that when
Mike introduced me a second ago. He said, you know, we had done million 6 times. We've actually done million 24 times. And if my unit were ranked, they would always either be number 1, 2, or 3 in the entire nation. They are an amazing group of women who I have done my entire life with, and I'm so very proud of them. So would you please honor my personal unit?
We heard 7 ice stories this weekend, and for those of you who are new to Mary Kay, an ice story is one of the favorite traditions inside our company. And I don't know why we love it so much. I think it just kind of feels like a big, warm, fuzzy blanket. When you cuddle up with your children or your grandchildren, when someone steps to the microphone and they start their story, where did Mary Kay find me, and who was I before Mary Kay? You just kind of snuggle in because you know it has a happy ending. You know where the story is going. You just don't know the details between. And I think there's something about us that just loves a good story. We love to hear other people's stories because we begin to identify with them. And I think it reaffirms our belief that we've made the right decision by becoming a Mary Kay Beauty Consultant. We can actually see ourselves. Couldn't you see yourselves in all the ice stories that were up here? There was some part of every person's ice story that you took on that person. And you know, it helps us believe that success is obtainable. But you know, an ice story does a lot more than just that. It actually sells you on yourself. You know, there's an old saying that says, who motivates the motivator? The motivator motivates the motivator. Because you hear yourself talk all the time. So think about it. How many times last week did you tell your story? At a facial or a party or an interview. Every time you hear your own story, you're telling yourself, I'm good at this. I'm a winner at this. And so we love a good ice story. So settle in, children. Snuggle up next to the person next to you. Put on your warm, fuzzy socks. Sit down in front of the fireplace. Because when I start to tell my story, some of you have heard it for 37 years. You know what I'm going to say. You can almost do it for me. Milk the cow! I was raised on a dairy farm in southeastern Kentucky. We milked Holstein cattle. For those of you who are bovine challenged, they are
black and white.
They are the black and white ones out there in the field. I have 3 brothers. They remind you of
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy. See, you guys know my story. It's like, I know where this story is going. Christmas at my mom and dad's house. I'm blessed that my parents are still with me. They live in London, Kentucky. Christmas at my parents' home is who can talk the loudest and who has the biggest pickup truck. That's exactly right. And so, no matter what, having grown up on that farm, not once in the 18 years before I left for Eastern Kentucky University did I ever see my family miss a day of work. And so from that upbringing, I brought to the table of Mary Kay an enormous work ethic. And my guess is that most of you in this room brought an enormous work ethic to this table. Mary Kay tends to find people who are overachievers, firstborn, people who know that there is more inside of them. And so I brought to the table an enormous work ethic. But let's be clear, the world is full of millions of people with enormous work ethics who struggle financially. Mm-hmm. So that alone is not the formula for success alone by itself. I also brought to the table my 4-H experience. At the age of 9, I learned to give a speech and work through a project, and I learned to win and I learned to compete, mainly against myself. But the world is full of winners. The world is full of achievers. Most of you probably came into this company at some point in your high school or college years. You were an achiever. You love to win. You love to compete. But the world is full of people like that who are financially struggling, who are financially in trouble. So that by itself is not an equation for success. A work ethic alone will not do it. A strong will to win will not do it. It is not until April 22nd, 1982, did I get the trifecta, did I get the missing puzzle piece, the missing puzzle piece that you marry a strong work ethic to a will to win was a box that arrived at my doorstep
on April 22nd, 1982. Inside this box was an unlimited opportunity that told me that there was no glass ceiling. As high as I wanted to go, I could go. That's what makes up the trifecta. That's what makes up the perfect puzzle. The missing puzzle piece came inside this box. I did some math last year, and I factored in how many millions of dollars had been ordered from the company and sold to ultimate consumers, how many cars had been earned in my national area by directors and consultants, and how much commission. And it was a very rough estimate. And I lowered it and lowered it and lowered it. And the number I came up with was $250 million. $250 million circulated through the U.S. economy because of a little cardboard box that arrived at Conservation Drive in a 350 square foot house with no insulation that I lived in 1982. That same box arrived at your doorstep. You all have everything in your kit that came in mine. And the person I am today is a very different person than I was then. I found gifts inside myself that I did not know was there. Those were the last words that I spoke to Mary Kay before she passed, is how can I ever thank you for helping me find the gifts that were inside of me. My very first year as a sales director, I was on my way home from seminar. For those of you who have not been, just going to have to live vicariously through me for a second. But everyone else is going to understand this feeling. By the time that they get done with you at seminar, they have injected into your veins adrenaline, hope, belief. You do not need an airplane to fly home. And so I got on the flight, and I was back in coach, and we're still on the tarmac at DFW, and a gentleman sat down beside me. He had on a pair of khaki pants and short sleeves with a collared shirt, just looked like a typical person on an airplane in 1983. And he made the mistake of saying, "Where have you been?" Somewhere over Texarkana, Arkansas, I stopped talking and remembered my manners, and I turned to him and I said, "So tell me about yourself." I said, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm in healthcare." I said, "Really?" I said, "Who for?" And he named one of the big buildings right here within the radius of this hotel, because we're kind of known for our healthcare industry here. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you do there?" He said, "I'm the CEO." I remember blushing. And I said, "What are you doing back here in coach with me?" He said, "I don't know if you've heard, but healthcare ain't doing too well." He said, "Let me share something with you that you don't know about your company." Now that always makes you a little nervous. And he said, "What you sell is hope." He was the first person to ever say that to me. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When people work for XYZ healthcare company," he said, "they have no hope. They have no hope there'll even be another check the next week. But when you recruit a woman into Mary Kay and she buys a starter kit," I'm improvising here, "you sell her hope." And so what came in my box and came in your box was hope. Hope translates into your why. Why did you become a Mary Kay Beauty consultant? And over the years, then that begins to transition. Now, I want you to repeat these words with me. I am where I am.
I am where I am.
By the choices I have made.
By the choices I have made.
Or I have allowed others.
Or I have allowed others
to make for me.
to make for me.
Now, I just slapped you. How does that feel? I am where I am by the choices I've made, or I have allowed others to make for me. You guys, God calls that free will. That's what free will is. God gave us humans free will. That is choices every single day. And you have a choice every single day that you can either play the victim or play the victor.
Yeah.
And that is inside your control. If you woke up this morning and you don't love your life, don't blame your husband. You married him. If you don't love your life and you didn't jump out of bed excited, don't blame your children. They weren't born to fulfill you. Yeah, that was another slap on the other cheek right there, baby. They weren't. The children's job is not to fulfill you in some way. If you woke up this morning and you weren't happy and excited, do not blame your boss. You go there voluntarily every single day. You chose to work there. And whatever you do, don't blame whoever is the president. They don't know your name. So, over the course of your career, your hope that came inside the box will begin to translate into your why. Initially, for me, it was I hoped that I would be able to put waiting tables at night as my second job if I worked enough years. In 3 months, I was able to put waiting tables. I hoped that one day I would be able to leave education and work from home and have my own business and financially support myself. 18 months into this box, I was matching my teaching income. I hoped that I would be financially independent and travel the world. And when they offered the first trip to Switzerland, and my heart was beating out of my chest, as many of you today saw Argentina as that option, I thought, this is my why. I want to travel the world and I want to see the world. But over time, it begins to transition. As my parents aged, I knew that they could not live on Social Security. Do you know people living on Social Security? That plan don't work real well. And so I was able to, I've been and continue able to support my family. And let me tell you, the long drives in from Hazard are 4.5 hours, Hazard, Kentucky from here. And you know, when you get home at 1 a.m. and you get up at 5:30 to get your kids ready to school, I never questioned it. I never got tired. Leo was right. Work is a privilege because I knew why I was working. You have to know why you're working. And so that has changed over time. I now plow a road for my children. I didn't do the work of my children, but I plow a road for my children. My daughter performed in New York on her very first album, her very first tour by herself. I'm so proud of the work she's doing and the hard hours that she's not afraid of. My son will finish in June his first of a 2-part residency. He is a pediatric neurologist. If you ever, prayerfully will never need him, he is who you want. A man full of compassion, a man who is gentle, a man who runs an Excel spreadsheet on your life and overturns everything. You know, Mary Kay, who gave us this box and who gave us hope, was of the great generation. Stacy just mentioned Mary Kay would turn 100. Do you know who else is in the great generation? Billy Graham, John Kennedy, Sam Walton, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa. The great generation believed in faith and honor and duty and respect and humility and personal responsibility. And I believe there's a revival in 2018. Do you all see the revival? I believe there's a revival. Maybe it's just because I want it so bad. I believe that Americans are hungry for a revival of honor, a hunger for a revival of respect and duty. And I'm a product of the 60s, and the 60s had its role and its place, but we're done with the me generation. We're done with it's all about me and everything you want to be, we're done with it. It's now time to serve others and to serve a higher good. And I just love that about Mary Kay. Mary Kay just set the bar so high. Do you know that when you were a brand new Mary Kay beauty consultant in 1963 and you were at her training, would you like to know what she told you? You need to buckle your seatbelt. She said, you have 6 responsibilities as a new consultant. Now that takes your breath away because we're not used to people saying these are your responsibilities. This was the bar she set for her company. She said you have a responsibility to yourself, to your unit, to your director, to this company, to your customers, and to your hostesses. You have a responsibility to yourself, to motivate yourself. Quit looking around for other people to motivate you. She said you have a responsibility to think highly of yourself and to build your self-esteem. See, that's that great generation talking. They didn't have time to think about themselves. They were surviving the Great Depression.
Teach.
She said you have a responsibility to your unit. What if everybody in Mary Kay was just like you? Oh, that's right. What if everybody's office looked like your office? What if everybody's cosmetic bag looked like your cosmetic bag? What if everyone's name looked like You are now part of a team, and for a lot of women, this may be the first time since high school or college that you played on a team. So you die to self. Mary Kay's saying, you're part of a unit now, you're part of a team. And she said you have a responsibility to your director for loyalty and support and to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know, we are in a world today, and this is why I think we're so hungry to get out of this world, where people just have so little respect for authority.
That's true.
So little respect. And so, guys, Mary Kay is saying to us, when we have a disagreement with someone in authority, whether it's your sales director or someone, you address that privately. You don't stand in front of an audience and be bold and confrontational. You say those things privately. You know, honor goes two ways. Respect goes two ways. The fourth responsibility you had was to this company. It's 63. She told you in 63 it was a prestige product. We had 3 foundations: yellow, more yellow, and yellower. Okay? She said you had a responsibility to our company because it was a prestige company. Okay? It had like 3 shelves of product in the back room. And she said it was full of prestige people. She spoke into existence what she knew was going to happen. And she said, you have a responsibility to this company to be professional. See, what people think of you when you leave here, when you're out in the world, you're the only Mary Kay that most people will ever know. It's kind of like you're the only Bible that some people will ever read. Whatever they think of you is they're going to think of all of us. So when you got a Mary Kay sticker in your car, you don't flip somebody off. You might think it, but you don't do it. And if you have to go out not looking your very best, wear big sunglasses and a hat. But she expected you to be on your very best behavior. Do you think every single day I'm representing a $4 billion company and what everybody in my town thinks of me? They think of every woman in Mary Kay. And she said you have a responsibility to your customers to earn their loyalty. And last but not least, you have a responsibility to your hostess because they are your business partners. Your business partners. How well your finances are doing in Mary Kay is in direct relationship to how much free product these hostesses are earning every single week from you. And those were your 6 responsibilities. Don't you wish you were in the room in 1963? There is a hunger and a desire for people to expect the best of you, to expect excellence from you, and to take the bar way higher than it's ever been taken before. We're done with mediocre living. We're done with a world that's full of lack of respect and honor. Let's be the example for the rest of the world when we walk out of here of what true excellence, kindness, honor, humility, and greatness looks like. It's inside each and every one of you. And as I close, as an NSD, we've become an NSD Emeriti after our 65th birthday, and for me that will be next September the 4th. And so I will have obviously one more career conference that next year, and then I will be debuting on stage at Leadership, which I pray all of you are there in Orlando, Florida in 2020. I will be debuting as an Emeriti. Now, I'm not going away, okay? I know some other people go away. I ain't going nowhere. So I'm just telling you, I ain't going nowhere. You're my people. You're my people. So I'm sure I'll be speaking more, if not more, than I am right now. But I do want to personally invite you to an event that I will be hosting in the fall. It's actually October 25th to 26th of next year, 2019. And it'll be a fall retreat, a camp holiday. It'll be my final thing, and it will be a humongous event. I've rented the building next door at the convention center that will all be glass, absolutely breathtaking, latest technology. And it will be a program designed to honor for 2 days my directors and their consultants and their children and their parents and their families. And I'm inviting every single one of you. So, save the date, October 25th and 26th of October 2019. It is my honor and privilege to be here before you today, as I stood backstage and I listened to Mike introduce me, I tried to imagine what it was like when I was brand new. I remember how my heart was just so racing after every Mary Kay event. I remember one in particular. I came, was the last person. The security had to escort me out, I believe, if I remember that correctly. I didn't want to leave the bubble. I didn't want to leave the magic because it's not magic out there. I have to be a big girl out there. And it was magic. And I want that magic in every one of you because somewhere in your soul, God has planted this amazing person. And your gifts are different than mine and all of the women that have come before you. You are unique. You are special. You are built for greatness. God has a plan for you. And it is not to harm you, but to be something magnificent, to change other people's lives in a way that you cannot even imagine. And you have to have a platform, children. You have to have confidence. You have to have self-esteem. And when you buy this kit, you buy hope that you can have confidence and self-esteem. Go out there and make this business everything Mary Kay dreamed it could be for you and your family. Thank you for allowing me.
Reminding us that we have the power of choices every single day that we wake up. So, what a powerful message. $250 million? $250 million came through this box. Wow, that is amazing. Amazing. And finally, thank you for being so, what's the right word? Utterly inspiring.